Okay, that garbage can is done. What I had in it. I didn't get any more, and it's been separated. Now, we started out with 80 pounds. I got solder on my boots, on my pants, all over the place because I desoldered most of it. That way you get the most of your copper, right, out of the brass. And see, this just irks me. That's brass pipe. So is that. You know? Like, it looks like copper when it tarnishes. And then some of the copper, when it tarnishes, looks like brass. So, anyways, we're going to check these out. Put that handle over into kind of the middle section here. Yeah, it's turning out to be another gorgeous day. Well, that's not near as heavy as this. Okay. And we'll know the exact prices. Because we're going by the one that's paying $5 a pound strictly for number 2 copper. So 29 pounds. It's 2 pounds for the pail. So let's say it was 30 pounds times 5. It's $150 right there. This is $3 a pound, unless you bring in more than 100 pounds and they raise it up. So minus 2 pounds, so you might as well say 43 pounds at $3, $120. So there's almost $300 just those 2 pills at today's price. Now, I'm gonna go through this and get out all the clean number 1 copper. See, like that. I just put it all in here for now just to get an idea. Like, if you don't want to clean it, then go get your $150. If you want to clean it, then it's gonna be, might make it to $180, you know, might. I'm not saying it will, but it might. But yeah, see, that's almost 45 pounds. So 43 pounds of brass times 3 is $129. But everybody's paying a little more than $3 a pound, so I'm just giving you a rough estimate. So that's the starting of that freezer, as you saw me pull it out the other day. All I did was fill that garbage can up. Hello, sweetie Petey. You still hunting for that critter? Are you? You still hunting for him? Yeah. You like wandering around. I still got this to do yet. But I'm going to say there's a lot more brass in here than there is copper. Because a lot of these come up as, that might be, that little piece is copper, but those might be brass, you know, like, see how limited of copper is on there? Like, do you even bother? And this one here, this is complete brass except that piece. That little piece right there is copper. That's brass pipe. That's all brass. So yeah, there isn't much copper left in there. All those things are brass. You know? Like, these cut pieces here will be copper. But is it worth it to get them out of there? You know, cut them flush maybe with the sawzall. That's brass. See, like, that's what I mean. Like, out of that whole thing, it's this little piece that's copper. This is all brass. That's a little more coppery. Copper, copper, copper. So, something like that. It's got a little bit of copper in it. Like, copper. Oh, that's brass. So that's copper brass. That whole big chunk is brass. It's got probably copper pieces that are broken off, but It's all soldered in there. This one will have not much for copper either. So yeah, there isn't a whole lot left in here for copper wise. See, pretty much all brass. Get off of there. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. That's all brass. That's a brass pipe. That's brass. That's brass, except for this piece here might be copper. Actually, that whole piece might be, but the rest is all brass. So, and then this one here, it's got a piece of steel on cast. I don't think that's brass at all. That's copper. That's copper. So yeah, I can get a few more trinkets out of here. So we'll empty this into that pail and go from there. And then the rest of the hoard's over here. Look at that. 45-gallon drum full. I'm not sure how much of that would be copper. Some of it would be. But there is copper in there. You can see it. There's a piece right there. It's all by its lonesome, see? Cut it right by the solder and that could be all number one. Well, it depends on how much work you want to do, you know? How much work? I don't even know what that is. It didn't belong to. Might have came out of something else. Yeah, there's copper in there. So, there's work to be done. Anyways, I gave it a start. Gonna be heading out in the curbside at 3:30 area. What? What are you growling about? You just wake up? That's what it sounds like. You're a silly girl. So I'm gonna play with this yet, and that's probably gonna be today. Turns out that bike I wanted from the States is unavailable in Canada. I can get a lower brand model, but the model I want is not available in Canada. And well, then why is it on the Canadian website? And anyways, there we have it. That's a good start. Well, that pail we weighed yesterday, I'm working on her. That's all copper. Mind you, there is some number one in there, but right now I'm just separating the brass and the copper. That's all brass. Some of the taps that come out of the things, you know, like, and then PEX pipe I've never dealt with before, but apparently those clamps are copper. That's brass, but those are copper. Now it was attached to a tap to an elbow. Why would you solder in a piece of brass like that into a hunk of copper just to put a plastic line on? Yeah, no, I'll stay with my copper. It was a nice improvement when we went from steel line to copper lines. So. You ever notice they never went the route of aluminum lines? Wonder why. Because your water would taste like aluminum? Well, they like to sell you everything cookware in aluminum. So cooking does not get the flavor of aluminum, but water will. Yeah, whatever, but it doesn't matter, you know. I was just curious why they jumped that boat, because they did hydro wire in the house. When they went from knob and tube, then they went to insulated wire, they put aluminum wire, and then they banned that to go back to copper wire. But aluminum has its place. Not in cooking, not in hydro. Maybe in a fender, you know, make your vehicle lighter. But anyways, I got off topic. Hello, sweetie Petey. Hey. Yeah, I know it's lunchtime, isn't it? We've been out here just farting around. But it takes a bit to desolder. That's what I've been doing to get the most of it out. Now I've called 7 or 8 different scrap yards this morning to get their prices, and they all range from $2.50 for number 2 to over $5 for number 2 copper. So which one do you think I'm going to go with? $2.50? But it's really amazing how some of them are really close together, but yet their brass is way out of whack. You go from the cheapest one that's buying brass to the most expensive one. The one that pays less on copper is paying more for brass. Now, that don't make sense to me. But I don't know how to play that market. But you think some of the ones, like I called the ones that are an hour east of me, town of London and St. Thomas, I called them up, and their prices are close, but you think they'd be all want to be the same, so nobody would fight who to go where, you know. But here in town, yeah, and then Wallaceburg south of me, no. So, but anyways, that's what I've been playing with, so slowly but surely. I'm not done with this bucket. I want to at least kill this bucket off and see where I stand as far as copper and brass. Some of the places are like 15 to 20 cents difference between number 2 and number 1. Now I understand, like if you had 1,000 pounds, that's a $200 difference if you go 20 cents a pound, right? But if you only got 100 pounds, that's $20. Now if you spend $20 an hour desoldering or whatever, or cleaning and scrubbing, and you know what I mean, like, so that would require me to take all this apart just to try and get that as a number 1. Like, that's just silicone on there, but then you cut it. I would cut it just a little opposite of the solder, because you can't have paint or solder. Now see, that's corrosion and speckled. That's allowed, but I clean it up anyways, and then it looks like that. This had never had any solder on it. So, but that's corrosion's allowed, but not paint. You see, that's just corrosion, speckle. Water hits it from the outside, you know. Like, cut it right there where my thumb is. The same on this side where my finger is, and then that elbow with the 2 pieces would be number 2, and then this would be all number 1. Cut that solder joint off. There's no solder joint on this one. You know what I mean? Like, but right now I'm not going to do that. I'm just separating brass from copper and whatever else is involved. Like some of the taps have this on. They got a nice little chunk of brass there, but then it's all plastic. Some of them have copper inside of there, if you look, that little piece all the way across, and then there's stainless steel. See this one? They're all similar. Those are similar. It's those regulation valves, you know, so you don't get blasted. And this guy here, I don't know what it is. It's all non-magnetic. That's brass, that piece. But this is, I'm going to say cast or zinc. But how does that come apart? I might just put the saw on it and zip it right in half. That's generally my answer to a lot of stuff that won't come apart. That's how I've been getting those these things apart. Just hit it with the sawzall straight across, and then you can open them up, because that's copper. So anyways, I'm going for lunch. We'll see you on the flip. I'll show you a little bit on how I do it. Copper banding. Go figure, eh? Yeah, gonna be a little tricky, but especially with one hand, it's easier with 2. But anyways, you get the idea. Like I said, all them little bands, the crimps are copper. I got another one to do yet. That's all I've seen with this Pexi crap. So other than that, we'll get back to it. Okay, we got the scale back. Put it on 0. There's what was left of the freezer. There it is there. I just rinsed it out. It's filthy. A lot of dirt. And this is still pretty darn heavy. Minus 4 pounds. So 86 pounds yet. Copper and brass on top of those two. So that's what it weighed yesterday too, wasn't it? When I weighed the other bucket full, but it was more copper. See, copper's lighter than brass. So yeah, might as well say 90 pounds, 86, minus 4 pounds for the bucket. So, gotta get it done. That's heavy. So there was a lot of weight in that freezer. There was 160, roughly 170 pounds in that freezer. So if you bring it all in as brass, it's $3 a pound plus. So like they'll take it as brass because I'm just screwing myself almost $2 a pound. So we got more to do. So in the meantime, I'm going to get another garbage can for him to dump them all in there. This one ain't near full yet because once you take all the copper off, it just compacts a bit. See, like something like that, you can get them untangled. See, something like this, once I get all the copper bits off, it just becomes smaller. So, in my desk, I have a desk. My workbench is just getting more dirtier. Hey, gotta get dirty to get clean, right? Solder everywhere. Look at my brand new boots. Exchanged the old ones because they were cracking and splitting and they were cutting my heel on the back. So they were defective. So they exchanged them for me. So, but there you have it. Freezer is empty. Going on 2 o'clock, another hour and a half. I'll take off, do some curbside. I guess I'm going to take off to relax. I give you an idea on how I'm doing it. Of course, you figured that much out already. I'm desoldering is what I'm doing. This is going to be a super long video. I don't know if that's soldered in there or not. This is one organized mess. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Wow, who thought up this brainstorm? This must have, I'm going to say this thing ran multiple shower heads. Okay, I'm going to start with the 2 lower ones. Warmed up a little bit more than normal. And anything with solder on is not clean, so this will all go as number 2. Unless you know a quick way of cleaning it. Don't worry at the cement floor. Sparky little buggers. And they get lit up after not being lit up for years. copper's lighter and worth more. Figure that one out. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. I never did check to see if that might even be brass. It is. See, dummy. What a dummy. You're not the dummy, I'm the dummy. You're the dummy for watching. That's brass, so I don't need to take that concoction apart. I just got to get these two little items out, and it'll be clean brass. Yeah. Pliers. Open sesame. This could be brass, but that is brass, but I take the taps out of it, like this, plastic, that don't go. I know, you lose weight that way. There's a little piece of stainless steel on that. What's going on with you? You're totally different. Open your jaws a little more. Yeah, everything that's questionable gets put on the workbench here. I'll deal with it later. I should just start another bucket just for that questionable stuff. But that's brass. That's just a tap. See, now I got to clean all that up, take that off, take the brass out, and that's all plastic in between. So this is pretty much clean. So, yeah. I can add to the brassy hoard. That's, I'm curious. You know, I'm holding you up. A couple more pieces of brass. I'm curious on how much that little guy weighs. We're gonna find out. We got 0-0. Wow, he's 3 pounds on his own. 3.5 pounds, 3.8 ounces. Just him. Just him. 3.8 ounces. Just that. So there's no copper on it. The copper is there. That's all the copper that came off of it. About a pound or two. So like I said, the brass weighs forever. So yeah, there we have it. And it'll get tossed in there with the rest. So like I said, I got to start another pail, so I'm going to actually just get one of those going for all the copper. And anything I can clean up for number 1, I'll leave in the bucket. So, there we have it.